All right, hello. So, Mr. H here, and today I'm going to be talking about strategies for programming generalization. This is a key takeaway from week 2 of Purdue University's Special Education Master's Course, EDPS 51500. So, in order to understand why generalization is important and something we seek, we can turn to Baer, Wolf, and Risley. So, in their 1968 essay, they kind of define what the generalization process looks like, or what it is they're referring to here. So they say that a behavioral change may be said to have generality if it proves durable over time, if it appears in a wide variety of possible environments, or if it spreads to a wide variety of related behaviors. So what we're looking for here is a change in behavior that's going to be lasting, and it's going to be applicable. They're going to be able to apply it to a wide array of scenarios and not just this specific stimuli they may have been taught to, or a specific instructor, things like that. So let's go into the strategies that I think are some of the most important takeaways and what I'm really looking to carry forward from this course. So the first one's going to be training sufficient exemplars, right? So basically what this means is kind of grouping a class of stimuli, right? So let's take a ball, for example, right? And I want a student to be able to identify a ball and know, what to do it for. Kick it, throw it, pass it back and forth, or even just identify it as a ball. I want them to be able to group all balls into the category of being a ball. So I don't have to expose them to every ball in existence to know what they are, but I just have to have a sufficient amount of exemplars, so I need to have enough and a diverse enough category of them, so plenty of examples to create that generality. So to generalize the idea of a ball such that they will be able to reliably identify that going forward. So that's training sufficient exemplars. Another one is to sequentially modify. So this one gets kind of interesting. This form of generalization is basically you're going to be applying the same techniques that have changed behavior in one setting to another setting. So you're going to use the exact same techniques. So this is called using like multiple baselines across settings, right? So if I have a let's just say a call and response, right? So let's say if I have conditioned a student to when I say X, Y, Z, they modify their behavior in X way. In the resource room, they're going to be able to do this in the gen ed classroom as well. Now, as long as they hear that same response, right? That same call response. This is also called trans-environmental programming. So this is assessing the target environment. So trans-environmental means I'm going to assess the room, identify, so I'm going to identify skills that we need in the gen ed classroom, and then I'm going to train them in the resource room, and then we're going to take those strategies back to the general ed classroom. Now, the argument can be made, though, if the targeted skills are made for the gen ed classroom, then they should also be practiced and taught and generalized within the gen ed classroom. So that's kind of a frequent argument amongst educators and why we advocate for least restrictive environments and for having aids and more push-in and less use of the resource room, but that's kind of for a different time. So that's sequential modification and trans-environmental programming, both really big, and like I said, that's just using training one set of strategies in one area, using those exact same strategies in another one to promote that generalized behavior. And lastly, we have using indiscriminable contingencies. So this is sort of a form of delayed sporadic reinforcement, right? So the students become unable to discriminate what responses will be reinforced, so they're more likely to produce large quantities of correct responses, right? So we're not rewarding them every time they do something the correct way, but we are rewarding them enough and and frequently enough that they're seeking that, right? So they're going to start naturally producing correct responses. They're going to generalize that behavior because it will be rewarded just sporadically. So that's indiscriminable tendencies. So yeah, so all of those are definitely areas worth more investigation. But those are some key takeaways from week 2 that I plan to take forward, study up on more, and integrate into my classroom for to work towards a generalization. So yeah, thank you for listening.